Welcome to On the Chain.
I wanted to play this John Deaton clip from Fox Business the other day, and again, just as
Crypto Law founder John Deaton. And John, Sam Bankman-Fried, he continues to suck all the oxygen out of the room. He keeps casting this dark shadow over the entire crypto world. So my question is why isn't he doing the perp walk yet? Really, it's just, you think of all these sort of things, and I just don't recall Bernie Madoff, making the rounds like this. And again, from a journalistic point of view, you probably want to interview these folks, but other people are wondering, really, billions are missing. Why is this guy walking around?
You brought up Bernie Madoff. He was arrested the day after, he confessed.
Right.
Sam Bankman-Fried has confessed in his Twitter feed and everything else. Charles, I don't know, but there's two things you can do it. What I would do is you arrest now. There's enough information under 18 U.S.C. 1343. That's the wire fraud statute. There's enough for the fraud statute. He went around looking like crypto savior, pretending to be crypto savior, and he goes to BlockFi and says, I'll give you this loan, but you have to deposit your client money in my FTX account. And then, of course, he steals that money to run his Ponzi hedge fund. So if I were in charge, I'd have had him arrested, introduce him to a 3x5 cell, remind him of what Russ Ulbricht, who did much less with Silk Road, is serving 2 life sentences plus 40 years.
I'm hearing more and more about that. People are really it's a story we all kind of forgot about. And I want to bring you back and talk more specifically about that. But there's just so many headlines. This interview with Sam Bankman-Fried, if you had a chance to ask him any questions right now, what do you want to hear? What hasn't he blurted out yet that we need to know?
Great question. The first thing, I get him to agree that the user agreement specified that the funds were client-only funds. And so he then commandeered those funds illegally and then sent them to Alameda. That needs to be brought up. Second, he had a back door. That back door allowed him to conceal the transfers from FTX to Alameda. But he claims, Charles, that he doesn't know how to code.
Yeah.
So who did it? Who did it? He needs to ask those questions.
who exactly did it? And that was what Stephanopoulos actually asked him about. He read the part of the user agreement where it said that it wasn't like, hey, by the way, when you deposit your funds at FTX, they become the property of FTX and will be used as leverage. I mean, there was none of that specificity in there.
So here's the big question of the day, Chip. Why the hell is SBF not already in prison or even Gitmo? This is where the Maxine Waters commentary needs to be plugged in, because this is where it gets
I have
a little murky and obvious. So how can you say murky and clear all at the same time? But there's kind of a murky relationship, but it's very clear as to why he's not in jail. And there's a couple points, a couple weeks ago or last week, whenever that was, we had played a clip of Maxine Waters waving or blowing kisses at SBF. Now, we also know that FTX had multiple politicians that they donated to. Now, that's nothing unusual for businesses, because a lot of businesses will seed money all over the place. It's all sorts of different politicians based on, maybe some potential expectation of some payback at some point. However, we don't know exactly what the tie-in was across the board, but we can visually see it with certain individuals. And one of the big ones, the ones that would be directly responsible for oversight, the SEC and I think the Financial Services Committee would definitely have something to say, or at least Maxine Waters would have something to say. Somehow they were cozying up with him just a little too closely. There's just something going on, and that's what we need to see. And we're going to see a lot more come January.
Yeah. And Jeff, what's interesting about that, it's when we talk about the Maxine Waters, she runs the Financial Services Committee. And this kind of came up in yesterday's conversation too, is like, hey, if 2 years ago, I know we had a changeover, but as far as Congress is concerned, since the last midterms taking over the House, 3 years have gone by, and people are like, we heard that there was some other legislation. One of the YouTubers is working on some legislation. I'm like, you don't need to. The token taxonomy handles it all, and to sit there and then Cynthia Lummis, Bitcoin maximalist, who's going to write her stuff and she's running around there on the TV going, Bitcoin is the only decentralized asset. Well, welcome to the maximalist club. But no, that's not how it works. And you need a better staff. You need a little more education. And I know a lot of us have attempted that sort of education level. But it's amazing to me is that this stuff has been sitting in the financial services. It doesn't even come out of committee. Like the committee has to at least get it out to the floor so they can vote and at least give it a chance. If it gets voted down, then you know who to vote for next time, right? They're against crypto. They're against legislation. But and there's something else coming up too that we'll put up here that John Deaton calls out. But you know what's so funny? The people in Congress are like, we need legislation. We need clear guidelines. Well, guess what? You're the one supposed to be creating it. It's like they walk around there with this straw man sort of thing. It's like this and they and them. It's you. It's on you, and it's your failure. And this is why Congress writes things so wonky, because they don't want it to actually ever flow back to them if something goes wrong. And that's why it's written in very broad terms, open to interpretation. But let's look at this tweet here that Maxine Waters put out. Actually, let's put us over there. And if you see this, so this is what you call it. This is a co-tweet, okay? And you can tweet it from two accounts. One account starts it, the other account can add something to it. So through two. So this isn't even a mistake, because the first thing I thought is everyone's got a blue check mark today. So it's got to be a parody, Jeff. It's got to be satire, right? But no, it was actually Maxine Waters with the U.S. House Committee on Financial Services. She did the co-tweet. Of course, she has her picture on both because she is the chairwoman of the, right, for now, until 23 days from now when she's no longer. But here's the tweet. Sam Bankman-Fried, we appreciate that you've been candid in your discussions about what happened at FTX. Your willingness to talk to the public will help the company's customers, investors, and others. To that end, we would welcome your participation in the hearing on the 13th. Jeff, what is wrong with this statement? Go.
Dude,
Oh, geez,
all of it.
I mean, what?
I mean, you look at it. First, they appreciate him being candid in his discussion. So he just lost how many billions of dollars, admitted to the fraud. We just saw what John Deaton said about it. Right. The question that everybody's asking is, why has he not been arrested yet? John Deaton saying there's enough. Arrest him now. There's no reason to wait. Go over to the Bahamas, get him extradited, whatever you got to do. It doesn't make any sense. But for her to come out, this is just all telling. To me, it reveals everything. The way she's handling and treat. This is like her saying that to Madoff or some other unscrupulous individual, and say, yeah, we appreciate you being candid with us and coming in and your willingness to talk to the public. I mean, what do you mean what do you mean your willingness to talk to the public? And to that end, we would welcome your participate, unless this is like you said, some sort of a parody. She's being super, super nice because, this is like the carrot and on the other side is going to be the hammer. I don't see it, after she's blowing kisses and being all friendly and blah, 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 and just like too much in this statement is just way too nice. This
Pathetic,
whole overture, Jeff. It's really pathetic.
Here's the comment. Hey, Maxine Waters, we'd like to be treated nicely by the government the way criminals like Sam Bankman-Fried are. Can you let us know how much to write a check for and where to send it? Feel free to DM if you want to keep this private. I mean, perfect response, right? This is because that's what everyone's thinking. This looks so smarmy and just absolutely gut rot. It's pathetic, Yeah, go ahead. You can DM us. You can DM us and make sure if you want to keep. And then Jeremy Hogan said, you as the chairwoman or the committee itself, since you co-tweeted, can just subpoena him to testify. There's no need to ask nicely on Twitter. It's House Rule number 11, Clause 2M. But I'm sure you already knew that. Jeff, I'm not so sure she knew that. That's what I'm worried about.
Well, yeah, I'm sure there's someone there that knows, but I think the point here is they don't want to get on his bad side either, right? So here they have an individual, maybe he's going to be unsteady, maybe, just completely unstable coming in. So they have to be friendly to him. What kind of information does he have on all of them? That's the question, right? So he donated to a lot of politicians, but giving $1,900 or $10,000, I don't see many politicians, being bought for small amounts of money like that. When you start giving huge sums before and after the fact, so there's going to be a trail She was way too cozy with him. It just looks really, really bad on its face. And the fact that she's trying to coddle up to him and not just bring him in, is she trying to, placate just so, he doesn't drop some sort of a bomb on the market on Twitter and say, oh, by the way, here's an email correspondence, or here's whatever correspondence between, between FTX and this congressperson and this congressperson, look at this pay for play that is being revealed. Is he holding that kind of information? Are they afraid of it? Or are they just trying to pick winners and losers? That's why it's so murky, but it's so clear.
Yeah. I mean, I almost said Moon Lambo, but he's since changed it to Moon Family Sedan. I guess, so Moon Family Sedan, as Moon Lambo.
That.
He said, I'll leave this right here for you. He was, Benny Johnson put this tweet out where caught Maxine Waters appears to blow a kiss at FTX chief fraudster Sam Bankman-Fried at a congressional hearing while the cameras are rolling. She's supposed to be the one grilling him next month, right? The one that's politely asking, hey, listen, if you're not so busy doing all these interviews and puff pieces and, saving the world and donating to, Congress members, could you pencil us in for the hearing? I mean, and there she is right there. And if you're listening on the podcast, not only is she, she blows a kiss, she waves bye-bye, and then the people in the background, they're all like, and then, there's somebody else with a mask there that's shaking her head, and she's probably, oh, we just love you, Sam. We just love you. Thank you. When's one of those donations rolling in? So the massive amount of collusion going on here is just absolutely ridiculous.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.